maybe it's still morning. No, it's officially afternoon. I'm Ann Bayless, Dean of the John B. and Lillian E. Neff College of Business and Innovation, and I want to welcome everybody to the second annual Doing Right Spotlight Luncheon. This puts the spotlight on local individuals and companies that are quietly doing good work in the community. The Family Business Center is one of the most successful outreach and engagement efforts hosted by the college, and it's led by a very capable team with Angie Jones and Megan O'Brien. Can we give them a hand? We're proud of the growth in the center's membership, the affinity group model, the professional development opportunities, and the cooperative spirit that the center fosters. It's truly a model for other centers and business communities. I'm very proud to be the dean of the college that houses the center. So thank you so much, Angie and team. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of announcing the Doing Right Student Scholarship winners. Last year's Doing Right Spotlight companies, who are represented here, Taylor Automotive, Allie Sterling Philanthropy, and Kripke Enterprises, they each donated $1,000 toward a scholarship. Students were asked to share an example of something good they've done in the community. And I will ask the winners to stand when they're announced, and I'll share with you the feedback from their applications. Sarah Lee. Okay. Sarah's being awarded a scholarship on behalf of Kripke Enterprises. Sarah Lee, a marketing major with a minor in professional sales, has demonstrated exceptional commitment to making a positive impact in her community, particularly with elderly residents. Despite the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, she creatively organized virtual music performances for nursing homes on special occasions, bringing joy and high spirits to many. Her dedication to volunteering, accumulating over 1,700 hours throughout high school, and her plans to inspire through her dream of building a skincare-focused makeup company, that emphasizes, inclusivity and accessibility, reflect her passion for empowering individuals and enhancing community strength. Congratulations, Sarah. Next, we have Emily Dworzik. Emily's scholarship is thanks to the Taylor Family Automotive. Emily Dworzik, an MBA student, has been instrumental in fostering community spirit and promoting boys volleyball in the greater Toledo area, spearheading the establishment of Perrysburg High School's volleyball program. Her initiative not only led to the formation of a vibrant boys volleyball team with over 30 students trying out in its inaugural season and achieving remarkable athletic and academic success, but also inspired other schools to adopt volleyball programs, significantly contributing to the sport's growth. Emily's dedication to service, deeply rooted in her upbringing and faith, extends beyond athletics. She has consistently engaged in community service, demonstrating a lifelong commitment to creating positive change and supporting growth opportunities in her community, church, and schools. Congratulations. Our third scholarship winner is Connor Lombardi. He's not here today. He's unable to attend due to his medical rotation, which is the best excuse I've ever heard. And his scholarship is thanks to Allie Sterling Philanthropy. Connor Lombardi, a joint MD, MBA student, plays a pivotal role in the University of Toledo Addiction Medicine Club, focusing on distributing naloxone in East Toledo and educating the community on substance-related health conditions, inspired by the loss of his cousin to a fentanyl overdose. Connor's dedication extends beyond addiction medicine to include a broad spectrum of community service initiatives aimed at underserved populations, emphasizing healthcare equity and medical education. As he prepares to specialize in gastroenterology or cardiology, Connor remains committed to making a meaningful difference in the lives of his patients, driven by a deep passion for medicine and community outreach. Congratulations to Connor. And thank you to the benefactors of those scholarships. Finally, I'd like to thank Donna Martin, our benefactor for this event, for her ingenuity, generosity, and philanthropy. She had the idea last year to promote doing good for the sake of doing good. And last year's inaugural event was a success. Donna agreed to fund it for 5 additional years and endow the program in her estate, which is just a remarkable gift. I'd like to invite Donna to say a few words, and we thank you.
I want to thank everyone who came here today. Can you hear me? Now you can. Hi, everybody. Anyway, thank you very much for attending, and thank you for being supporters of doing right. I have a deep-held belief that doing right can change the world, and we're just one step in that process. So I honor all of our Doing Right Spotlight folks and our scholarship winners. I thank the center for this platform. I could never have done it without them. And next year, I hope we blow those doors out and have twice as many people, because we can never do enough right in this world. If you read the news today, you probably didn't hear about all the things you'll hear about on this podium. So thank you all very much. I am honored to be here and honored to have you here to celebrate with me. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Donna said next year we'll blow those doors out. I think we quite literally did that earlier today. So for those that don't know me, my name is Angie Jones. I'm director of the Family Business Center. Thank you so much for joining us today at our 2nd annual Doing Right Spotlight. We're thrilled to see so many familiar faces and new faces as we gather to celebrate the remarkable contributions of our community's businesses and individuals. This year, we received double the amount of nominations, which is a testament to the growing impact of our collective efforts to doing right for our community. The quality of nominations was exceptional, making the task of selecting just 3 individuals or companies to spotlight no small feat for our judges. So I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our judges. I'm going to say your names if you don't mind standing up. Bill Wurzel, there. Dr. Janelle Whitmer with the College of Business and Innovation. Terry Crosby with Taylor Family Automotive. Emily Croak with Alley Sterling Philanthropy. And Paul Croy with RCO Law. And of course, Donna Martin. Thank you. Okay. So your dedication and hard work in evaluating the nominations has been pivotal in making this event possible. So thank you all for doing that. So now, without further ado, let's turn our attention to the stars of the afternoon, our 3 spotlight companies. We put together a series of videos to give you a closer look at these organizations and the incredible work that they're doing in our community. So first up is SSOE.
SSOE is an engineering and architectural firm, and whenever I talk about SSOE, the first thing I like to start with is the vision for the company. Our vision is designing and building the future for our clients, colleagues, and communities. And for our clients, we do industrial plants all over the country. Is one of the big things that you'll hear about SSOE. We're involved in semiconductor plants, electric vehicle plants, battery plants, food plants. We do a lot of industrial manufacturing, but we also do a lot on the architectural side, hospitals, school systems, commercial buildings and such. So we're an engineering and architecture firm. We like to design things and have those built, and that's what we do for our clients. Our colleagues, we like to provide a great opportunity for our colleagues to work in a diverse and inclusive environment. We provide great career growth for our employees. Of our employees, we have over 300 that are shareholders in the company, so we really have a culture that has people invest in the company. And lastly, but importantly, is supporting our communities. We think it's just as important in today's world for a corporation and its employees to support the communities that they live in. So we have a volunteerism program where if people volunteer for an organization, the company will support that financially. We also support all of our communities. We have funding that not just supports here, we're our headquarters in Toledo, but literally across the country and even our offices in Mexico and India. The company provides funding for people to donate to their best charities. They're usually related to STEM type fields, of course, us being a technical firm, but also really supporting our communities in any ways that they need it today. One of the reasons we're so happy to get this award is how it came to be. I didn't go around the office tapping someone on the shoulder and say, I really want someone to go over to the same cafe and work together. This was Heather being part of our company and understanding our program and going over there and saying, hey, this is really great. I want to be part of it. And then bringing it back to the company, and we heard what she's doing. To me, that's what's fantastic, is that I'm not out there telling people, go here, go there. They're saying, I need to do this. And Heather's just been a fantastic example of bringing that to life. And once I heard about it and got involved and went over there, saw what she was doing, it drove us to provide this opportunity to support that in an even greater fashion at a company level.
Same Cafe Toledo is located in the main branch of our library in downtown, and we are an elevation of the pay what you can model. We are a participation-based cafe where guests can exchange their time, money, or produce for their meal. The menu changes daily, and we use local seasonal ingredients to populate our menu. And it's really based on the community model of everyone, no matter where you're at, contributing for the greater good of us all. SSOE got involved with us in a really organic and really amazing way. We have, every type of person as our guest, which means we have every type of person as our volunteer. And so when guest Heather had recently started at SSOE, we're located across the street. She was checking out her options for lunch, came over and checked us out, and really fell in love with our concept and the people in the space. And so she started to become a regular fixture, not only dining in the cafe, but exchanging half of her lunchtime to actually volunteer. So she was able to see both sides of the counter and really get to know our staff and our volunteers, but also our other guests. She started to bring in coworkers sometimes to either eat lunch or volunteer. And she became such a regular fixture that she started to really naturally get others excited and spread the word at work about what she was doing. And essentially it trickled all the way up that, one of their employees was not only kind of contributing just by dining really in our space, but giving back in this way, that they ultimately came to the table and offered to donate the equivalent of one meal every day for a guest for an entire year. So that has a huge impact, not only for us and our guests, but also I think for the community as a whole, to know that organizations like SSOE, as big as they are able to notice the impact of one employee and really step up and give back in that way. It says so much about what they're wanting to do, again, for their own employees, but for the community overall.
One of the things that brought me to SSOE was knowing that they had a huge impact on the community, and they focused so much on community involvement and volunteerism. This experience has affected me personally because in my past, I have actually struggled with food insecurity. There were times in my life when I was not financially able to support my family, and had a place like Same Cafe existed back in that time frame, it would have been an absolute blessing. The level of support that SSOE has given me to find my passion has been unmatched. And it really has been through the opportunity that they have given me to be able to go and spend my lunch hour volunteering that I have discovered that my true passion is people and to serve others. And to be able to have realized that because of a company that is so willing to support their employees has been absolutely amazing. I would definitely recommend other companies to give their employees the opportunity to showcase their passions outside of the office and be able to bring that into the office on a daily basis.
And I think Heather and Rory are here. I think I saw them earlier. Let's give them a. So it's truly inspiring to see how SSOE has embraced and supported the passions of their employees, demonstrating a remarkable commitment to both their team and to the broader community. So next, we're excited to feature a company that most of you are probably familiar with, perhaps owning some of their fantastic products. Next up, we have Jupmode.
Jupmode is a custom decoration business. We do custom screen printing and embroidery in-house for local businesses, schools, nonprofits, and events. Additionally, we have a retail brand which celebrates the history and heritage of the Midwest, Ohio, Michigan, and specifically Toledo. At Jupmode, we screen print all of our shirts in-house. We have automatic and manual screen printing presses. We also do embroidery, which is a great application process for hats, bags, polos, things like that. It's a lot of custom branded merch. Additionally, at our space on Adams Street in Toledo, we do our production right there. We also have a retail store in the front, and that's where you can find our vintage t-shirts, which celebrate the history of Toledo, unique stories or events that have happened in the Midwest. It's for people who are proud to call the Midwest home and want to share that with other people in their lives or promote that themselves. It's always been important for me to be involved with the community. One of our most well-known shirts for our retail brand says, "You will do better in Toledo." And that's something that we really believe here. We believe that Toledo is a place where you can make things happen, where you have the support of the local community. And it's important for me and for us here at Jupmode that that's a two-way street. It's not just people buying from us. It's us supporting them in whatever endeavor they have. We've always been very involved in the nonprofit sector because those people are making such an impact on the community. And there's so much value that Toledo and Northwest Ohio derive from those nonprofits that are doing so many good things for the community. And we believe as a small business that we're only able to do what we are and to have the jobs that we do and to find the sense of fulfillment that we do find in our jobs because they allow us to, because of the great things that they do. And so there's a lot of synergy, I believe, in working with these local businesses, local organizations, and the support that we feel from them. We feel it every day, and it really makes us proud of the work that we do. We created the Here for Good program in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was our response to everything that was happening right then. Everybody was looking for ways to help other people, and we knew that if we stayed in our lane, this is what we could do to help other people. And Here for Good is a program where we allow local organizations, small businesses, nonprofits, whoever it might be, restaurants, bars, we allow them to sell shirts online on our website, and they keep half the proceeds. And there was a lot going on at the time. People weren't shopping in stores, and so being an online platform, it allowed people who were looking for a way to support their favorite local organization to do that. And we've maintained it ever since. And we're really proud of the growth that we've seen over the years, the annual support that we see from the local organizations and their customers. And so it's been a lot of fun for us, and it's really re-engaged us with the community and helped us understand how special we think Toledo is, how special we think Northwest Ohio is, and our customers.
Here for Good really gave me a good view of just what our community is capable of. We had a lot of, especially in 2020, we had a lot of smaller businesses reach out that let us know, they weren't able to open their doors. So anything that we could do to help was really a help to them. Their customers weren't able to come in physically, but this was a way to allow their customers to really, show their support through purchasing a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. I thought it was funny, we had some companies that would kind of reach out and see, who's leading, who's selling the most, and made a fun game of it. And and it was just exciting to see people be really excited about this program. We got a lot of great feedback from the companies and consumers. So it was really great to see.
In the time since we started this, we've raised over $135,000. That would be over 13,500 items sold, whether it's t-shirts, sweatshirts, or hoodies. And really, it's a testament to the organizations that are a part of the program and their customers, the support and the connections that they've created with them. And so it's really neat to see that it stayed strong over the years, that it wasn't a one-time thing, and that we've been able to continue it to provide an avenue just that's really simple for all these people to offer this item for their customers and build those relationships, provide value for them as well.
I encourage other businesses and owners to do something like Care for Good because quite honestly, it not only brought our community together, it brought coworkers together. It really uplifted a lot of people and it just has such a great impact. I really can't think of many downsides because it just really engaged a lot of people and really brought out the best of people, I think.
The Here for Good is a phenomenal program, and I love the pride that it instills in everyone. So, and last but certainly not least, we have another long-standing member of our center, a big supporter of both our center and our students at UT, Designetics.
Designetics was founded in 1987. We are a family business, actually started by my grandfather, and then my dad came along kind of quickly after that. So I refer to myself as Generation 2.5. It wasn't a fair 3 generations, so we've got probably 70-some employees. We ebb and flow a little bit right now, but we're around 70 employees. I consider a big family, and we are a manufacturing company. We sell a process for applying chemicals to a substrate. So what I mean by that, we work with chemical manufacturers and end users, which happen to be heavily automotive, and we manufacture a process, essentially a vehicle for getting those chemicals onto the substrate. Designetics has had the Designetics Cares Foundation, and it's gone through a few names over the years, but we've had the foundation for almost as long as the company's been in existence. We believe firmly in giving back and making a difference in our community, and with that, we focus heavily on kids and education. So we believe in scholarships and scholarships with a backbone. We want to see students going, and being in organizations that have kind of a holistic approach to taking care of these kids and helping them get through school. Along with that, we understand that kids need other things to be successful in life and to learn appropriately. Eating every day, very important. After school programs, to keep them safe and things when mom and dad are working or, single family homes. So with that, we deal and have dealt over the years with a variety of organizations in our community. A couple important ones to us are Connecting Kids to Meals. So Wendy Huntley is an amazing human, and what the organization does is unbelievable, feeding hundreds of thousands of kids every year. And then Boys and Girls Club of Toledo, also an amazing organization with unbelievable programming for these kids, a safe place for them to be after school, to get food, to get help with their homework, to get support, so just to name a few of the things that we do for our community.
Designetics has been an amazing partner for Connecting Kids to Meals. Not only have they provided significant monetary support year in and year out, especially through the pandemic, but they've also provided volunteer support. And that means so much to us because we're able to lean on them to help us to acquire some of the food items, but also to pack the meals. So it reduces our labor costs and it enables us to get some of our weekend meals out as well as our weekday meals out at a lower cost. We're running federal child nutrition programs, so we do receive a reimbursement rate for each meal served, but it's not enough. So we lean into our community to help us to make sure that we're able to continue to feed kids, and Designetics and Designetics Cares Foundation has been by our side every step of the way.
Certainly the code drive, I would have to say, is probably the most impactful piece that we work with Designetics on right now. It's a drive to ensure that all of our members receive a coat if they attend our holiday party. So parties for about 1,000 or so kids. And so Designetics has collected thousands of coats over the last several years to distribute. And then whatever's left over, we give out to kids that maybe couldn't make it. But being that we're in Northwest Ohio here in the winter, coat is a necessity.
These kids are so excited to be able to pick this beautiful brand new coat in the color they want, their favorite color, the outfit they have on. And, when they slip it on, you could just tell they feel really cool, really good about themselves. And it's just a wonderful feeling, for something as simple as a coat that is also functional and going to keep them warm all winter. And then I always have just the biggest sense of pride. Whenever we do an event, my employees bring their kids, they bring their significant others or spouses, they bring friends, or other family members. And, I find myself more often than not, just standing back and counting my blessings and being so proud of the team that I have. And that they love this and they put their heart and soul into it, and they see what we're doing as important to our community and making a change.
We get a lot of positive feedback from our associates because one of the things that we show to be so important in giving back is we actually give all of our employees an extra day each year that they can use for volunteer time. And we don't really tell them where to volunteer or how to volunteer, but they get to pick an organization that's close to their heart and give 8 hours of their time, for which we pay them, to go out into the community. And I think our employees are very appreciative of that because it shows them that not only do we have our causes, but it allows them to be a part of the causes that are important to them too. And it just contributes further and further to our family atmosphere.
I think if you're an organization considering getting more involved in community efforts and giving whatever it is, time, talent, or treasure, I wouldn't wait. I'd start now. I can't think of a better thing that you can do for yourself, for your organization, and for your community. It makes a difference in your culture. It'll make a difference in your employees. I think nowadays when people are looking for an organization to work for, they want to see a purpose other than just, profits and growth of the company. What are we doing? And I think as business leaders, it's imperative that we get involved in our community and that we work to make a difference. So I would suggest, start small. Start with something that you're comfortable with. Talk to your employees, see what they might offer as ideas or ways to get involved. But it's easier than you think, and it's really fun.
Thank you. And as I said, Designetics has been a great supporter of the center. They've been the premier sponsor for our golf outing the last 4 years, which is September 23rd, if anyone wants to mark their calendar. And we appreciate having the opportunity to be a part of their coat drive through the Care for Kids. And that's always heartwarming to see the community come together and give, and then to give the coats to all those deserving kids. So you will hear from these 3 companies on the panel. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce this year's panel moderator, Jeremy Park, who is no stranger to many of us, having left a lasting impression last year as our first inaugural event's keynote speaker. Jeremy's been also instrumental in helping us shape this program. With the initial idea, passion, and funding brought to the table by Donna, Jeremy was a catalyst who helped us move or transition from concept to reality. So Jeremy Park is a man of many talents, many titles. As a TV and radio host, president of City Current, and a consultant known for his philanthropic endeavors, Jeremy stands as a beacon of positive change and community engagement. His work with City Current, alongside over 100 businesses, including global giants like FedEx and Verizon, showcases his commitment to leveraging collective power for the greater good. Hosting over 150 free events annually and producing uplifting media content, Jeremy's efforts are a testament of the impact of collaborative philanthropy. An author, Forbes contributor, and an influential speaker, Jeremy's insights on transforming organizations and individuals into community catalysts are invaluable. His books, Giving Back with Purpose and Giving for Growth, highlight the synergy between personal success and community betterment, with proceeds supporting youth literacy programs. So please join me in welcoming a true force for good, Jeremy Park, as this year's panel moderator.
right, so it is quite an honor for the second annual. As Angie mentioned, it was an honor to be here last year and help kick off the inaugural event. But I have the fortune of hosting all these TV shows and working in all these different cities. And when you talk about the importance of this event, spotlighting those organizations, those companies that are doing right, doing good, powering the good, making a difference, investing in the community, this event is important because, one, as Donna mentioned, you don't see this on the 10 o'clock news. These companies are doing all the right things for all the right reasons. They're flying under the radar. They're investing in the community, but they're not seeking the spotlight. But it's important for us to put a spotlight on them because we need to see the good that's going on in the community. If the 10 o'clock news is your only version of your community, regardless of where you live, it's probably going to be a lot more negative than what the reality is. And so when you have a chance to see the organizations investing in and making a difference, and then the other important piece is learning from them, the lessons learned, which is a big part of today, and why we're honored to have the panelists come up here and share, then you can take those back and become an even greater catalyst on your end. Because when you look at where it starts, most organizations say, I want to do good, I want to do right, I want to make a difference, but I don't know where to start. And so this will help give you the playbook for where to start. And the other beautiful thing is that when you look at the importance, and we talked about this last year, is that consumers are driving social impact. Consumers want to see, and we're making our purchasing decisions based on the social good efforts of your companies. But just like you saw with Heather and the other employees want to go to work for companies with a higher purpose, right? And so there's everything in the world in it for you. All the stats will show the happiness, the productivity, your value and your ROI outpaces the stock market for those companies who have a higher purpose than just what they do as a service or product provided. They way outperform their competitors. The other flip side of that too is that in the community, on average, only 25%, 25.2 to be exact, volunteer, which means roughly 75% of the community is disengaged. Their version of Toledo, of the community, is only what they see on the news or what they hear or what they, sadly, consume on social media. And so when you talk about the importance of this event to spotlight those doing good, doing right, making a difference, investing in the community, it's also, too, to help, just like with the Here for Good campaign that you'll see and hear more about with Jupmode, but it's to promote civic pride. It's to get them to see the good, to be in community, to realize that there's so much beauty around and that they, too, can be a catalyst to make a difference, just like you saw with Heather. You empower and fill their cup to be a purpose driver. So let's go ahead and have some fun. Let's invite our panelists to come up. So we're going to have our panelists from each one of the honorees with the Doing Right Spotlight. But we have John Amato with Jupmode. So John, come on up. Sydney Williams, Dr. Sydney Williams, President of Designetics. And Jim Jaros, who is the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Legal Officer and Senior Vice President with SSOE Group. So we're going to have them come up and take a seat. And then we'll also, we can have these. Let the trained professional remove those. So, there we go. Making it work. So we'll start with John since he's the closest one to me. But John, what does this recognition mean to you and your team at Jupmode?
This is quite an honor for us as a company. To be recognized in this way, especially next to two companies like we are. We're a small local business, and so to receive recognition on this scale is quite an honor. And I think it's a validation for my employees for all the hard work that they put in, for the programs that they put in place, because it's a team effort. And they do most of the work.
Sydney, the other cool thing too, I think, for the students, the college students who got the scholarships. Last night we were at a dinner. One of them was sitting with Sydney, and for the college students to also see the good that's going on, right? The businesses who are investing in, it tells them right there, wow, there's hope, there's opportunities right here. I can stay in my community and make a difference, and I want to go to work for these companies. So, Sydney, what does this award, Doing Right Spotlight, mean to Designetics?
You know, for me, I think about my employees and all that they do, and I have such a sense of pride. They work so hard. They're so committed to our nonprofit work. They're so creative, and the way they operate with such passion is such a blessing for me, and it's such a special thing to see. Obviously, we're never looking for recognition, but I think this event is a wonderful opportunity for us all to come together and focus on and celebrate what really matters.
And then Jim, same thing. Talk about what this means to SSOE Group.
We think it's very important. SSOE was born in Toledo, Ohio, 20 offices throughout the United States and internationally, 1,500 employees. And our issue right now is getting more employees. And I think this tells how we treat our clients, the impact we want to have in the community, and our colleagues. I think Heather, she came to SSOE last summer, met me. She didn't realize the roles we have. We work together in finance. And she was joking how she thought we're so down to earth and treat people with respect, and she enjoys coming to work, whether it's Monday through Thursday, not just Fridays. She said she enjoys coming to work. So that's what it's about. It's about people, it's about relationships, about treating them right, and that comes out in the products you sell or the services you provide.
Yeah, and I want to go back because I mentioned to Heather last night just the power of her sharing her story. I think there's a lot to unpack there. One is the assumption that most of us make that, oh, well, you have a corporate job, you're in great shape. And for her to have, dealt with food insecurity as a part of her story, and then how now she goes for an hour lunch, she eats for 30 minutes and then donates the other 30 minutes every day. Like, think about that in terms of what she's doing. And she's also finding her purpose. And I think that's a big piece of this, is employees are coming to you as the employer saying, yes, I want a job, I want a paycheck, but I want to figure out like who I am and what I'm about and what difference I can make in this world. So they're searching for purpose. And I think you create the platform as employers to be able to really empower your employees in a very cool way to become an army of do-gooders to go and invest in the community. And it transforms the way they view your company. So John, a lot was obviously, we had a chance to show in 5 minutes a little bit of your world, but we were talking last night about some of the cool things you do even beyond. So give us something that wasn't in the video, and it can be things like providing shoes and clothes to your team, but, give us something that wasn't in the video that is something that you would love to share that you do special with your team to invest in them or invest in the community.
We just had an employee survey, and one of the things that came up more often than I expected was we provide lunch every other Friday, and it's a simple thing, but it's a fun thing, I think, for our team. And people get together, they get to eat together when they can, or if their schedules work out. But it's always surprising the things that make an impact. I don't hear that feedback directly very often, and so that was a neat one. We are in the business of printing custom merchandise, so people end up with a lot of free T-shirts and sweatshirts and things like that. So I think they would also say that.
Sydney, same question. Is obviously we had a chance to see some of where your heart is with you and your company, but what's something that wasn't in the video, because you do so much with so many different nonprofits, but what's something that you would want to share as a feel-good moment for you and your team that wasn't in the video?
Yeah, we have our community work that's super important to us, but with that also is taking care of our employees first. So, we've got a number of events, actually a calendar of events for the entire year on various lunch and learns, just fun opportunities for the employees to dress up, get together, and create and keep that family environment. I'm really big on my employees learning and getting experiences. So we try and work really hard to give them opportunities and options to learn new things and just dream bigger.
What wasn't in the video that you would like to share?
Really, I think it's in there, but not as clear as I'm going to give an example, is we encourage everyone to give back. It's not a requirement. We encourage everybody. In our first year, we really rolled that program out. Last year, we donated 8,000 plus hours. Our employees log those. We pay you for that time. And then if you do 20 hours per employee at least, we will make a contribution to the charity of your choice. So we're highly encouraging it, but it's not mandated, but people are doing it. They're going out and living it and sharing the stories. And I think it's building our reputation, continue to build our brand and saying what we really care about.
Yeah, when you talk about giving them the hours to go and volunteer with organizations that are important to them, the other beautiful thing is you can track these hours, which will lead us to a question, but you can track those hours and there's national statistics that you can put with it in terms of the value of those hours. So you can quantify that in terms of the impact your team is making out in there with their volunteer hours. And so there's all sorts of metrics you can do to tell that story. The other thing is, and you kind of alluded to this, is you can make it part of the performance evaluation. When you go in at the end of the year and you start looking at, okay, how are you growing as an employee? What are the organizations you support? How are you giving back? How are you making a difference? How can we support you with that growth? You can make that part of your performance evaluation. So there's a lot of really cool ways you can weave this in. So John, Sydney, I'll kind of throw this out for each one of you as an open door, but how do you track your volunteerism? How do you figure out where your team volunteers? How do you make that part of your institutional priority for learning more about where your team is passionate about making a difference?
So for us internally, we do share a lot of the opportunities through our Slack channel. Stephen, who's over here today, he does organize group volunteering efforts for anyone who's interested in being a part of them. And so a lot of it is it's talked about openly. And I think we've facilitated an environment where we want people to be engaged, through the broader programs that we offer. And so we do see it on, an individual basis as well. And Stephen does a great job showing, showing photos and experiences when we do get out there.
Sydney, Jim?
We just actually got a software, so we'll be officially tracking our service hours. Until recently, we know what people are doing, we know what they're involved in. Like Doug said in the video, we give each employee 8 hours of paid time. With that, we also have a number of events that happen throughout the year during work time, so we know who's involved in those and who's active. We also have other events on weekends or evenings, and we always get a good turnout from our employees. We have a very open line of communication on nonprofits and what employees want to do. So if they're passionate about something, then we're happy to get involved, and they'll bring that up to us.
Jim?
As I indicated in the last comment, we have a place right on the timesheet, so you can put your volunteer hours, and you can record it, who it went, who it was on behalf of, and then it's accumulated. And so, as I also indicated, then once you hit 20 hours per individual, we'll make a contribution to the charity of your choice. And we highly encourage it, but again, it's not mandated, but we're seeing it's becoming more and more, it's catching on, and people want to do it. They want to show who they're volunteering for. And at the executive and the officers level, we even highly encourage it, and we also will match contributions that the executives are making to the organizations they're providing their board services to.
I have a couple more questions, and then we're going to flash up on the screen a phone number that will go to my phone, and so you can text in questions. So if you have questions that you would like to ask for any of the panelists or all of them, go ahead and text in your questions, and then we'll filter them in. You can put, your name if you want, or you can leave it more anonymous, totally up to you. But so Doing Right Spotlight, part of the idea of where this came from with Donna and Angie and Megan is talking about ethics, right? Like business ethics. And when you talk about having, ethics interwoven into the conversation, ethics can be a little bit more ambiguous. It can be challenging to kind of put a face to it. And so that's kind of where this started was, what if we spotlight those doing right for the sake of doing right? Spotlight that, because when you talk about putting up on a pedestal the good that's being done, it's a chance for all of us to be energized by that, to see it, to see the good, but also it rewards good behavior so that we understand what good behavior is and ties back into this idea, this general theme of ethics. So for you all, as the leaders in your organization, talk about how doing right, how giving back, how investing in the community, how have you seen this shape your ability to do what's right, to make a difference? In other words, your corporate culture. Talk about how this permeates your corporate culture to then make better decisions and do what's right. So, Sydney, go ahead and start us out. I'll just throw it to you first.
If I think about a world where Designetics isn't focused on our employees and our community, I don't know what would be left with the company. Our work is everything to who we are. And, I think when you're focused on something other than a superior product or profits, you just realize what's important and what really matters, and that drives the ethics in the organization as well. I mean, we want to do right in all aspects of the business, whether that's, taking care of our customers, creating the best product we can, taking care of our employees or our community.
Jim or John, I'll leave it open.
I was mentioning earlier, our vision, one of the 3 C's is community, clients, and colleagues. So colleagues is one of the 3 C's, 3 stools. Also, our values or our integrity is one of the objectives we have. We also have licensing. Our engineers are licensed, our architects are licensed. If you don't have those underlying values, you're going to have ethical issues. You're going to get reported. You're going to lose your license. You're going to lose your brand. You're going to lose your reputation. That's all we have, really, is we have how we treat people and those underlying integrity, how we treat people. So I think it's so important, and people want to be part of that. And we hire in, they hear about it, and it helps us in this time of capacity where we need people.
John, what would you add?
So I'm going to play Wade Kapsakevich here and tell you a little bit about Toledo history. We make a lot of historical Toledo t-shirts, and my favorite Toledo mayor is actually Samuel Golden Rule Jones. He ran a business before he was mayor, and he governed that business by the Golden Rule. And he did the same with the city. And I believe the history of Toledo and the local community is important because it tells us what we're capable of. And I think that sets a great example, governing the city or your business by the Golden Rule on the people in the city or the people that work for you. And that's a small example that's specific to Toledo, but I think there are a lot of other businesses that have set that example, and that's why so many people are proud of being from the area, of working for businesses like Designetics and SSOE. And early on, that's always been something that's been important to us, and I hope I set that example for my employees and create an environment in doing so where my employees want to be a part of the business. They want to work with the people next to them, and they take care of our customers. And so we see customers in a couple different ways, from a B2B focus, but also a retail focus. So we're seeing people in our doors every day, and to see the way that our employees treat our customers, I think, is an indication that people really care and they do want to do good for our customers, for the local community, and the people next to them.
I want to stay on that thread of care. When you care, you become more aware. You become more aware of the needs in your community, of the needs of your teammates. When you look at the power of volunteerism, this is something we talked about last year, is volunteerism is the thing that brings your community together. Right now, polarization is an all-time high here in America. Well, volunteerism is a thing that brings different socioeconomic levels, races, religions. It brings you together for a shared heart for service for others, for making a difference. So volunteerism is the thing that heals, and it brings people together. It brings your coworkers, your community together. That's also why this is so important, is around this shared heart, because it opens up your heart to have respect and empathy for each other, which leads to then making better ethical decisions, because now you care about the others. You care about the community. So it all goes together in terms of why these conversations are so important. We're getting a lot of great questions coming in. I'll get to these in a second. My last question for you all, and then we'll dive into these questions, is for each one of you as a leader, how has volunteerism shaped your leadership? So what's something that you've learned by serving with an organization and giving back and volunteering of your time? How has it shaped you personally? So Jim, let's start with you. We'll work our way down to John, and then we'll get to all these questions coming in.
First of all, it creates an awareness. It lets you, by volunteering, you're aware of what's happening out there, how others are. In many instances, we are a lot more fortunate than others, and so we walk in their shoes, we can empathize, and then it makes you want to give back. You realize you're blessed, and we've been very fortunate, and so you want to give back to the community. So awareness is a big thing that it does for me.
Sydney?
For me, it's given me the opportunity to just dream bigger. I'm not okay with, just things being at status quo and, issues that children face today. And, as a leader, I want to be an impact on my team, and I want to help them realize what we need to do to help do our part in our community to make a difference. I also think that my community work and service work has given me such a level of joy and gratitude for everything that I've experienced, every organization that I deal with and person that I've met. It just really puts, I guess, life in perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think volunteering creates a lot of empathy for the people that you're volunteering with or supporting. And it also creates a connection with people or places that you might not have otherwise. And so I think it's really important to get out, to actually spend the time, because there is more of a commitment rather than simply making a donation. And so giving of your time often is more valuable.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to mention is, once again, we talked about last year, but the power of purpose in asking someone not what you do, but what are you fighting for? Imagine asking that to Heather, right? Like, you're going to have a deep, meaningful conversation versus what do you do? And when you start to have those and you start getting below the surface with people, that's where the magic happens. So, all right, we have a lot of great questions. Here's one. All of your companies have contributed to the betterment of the Toledo area. Based on your experiences, what do you see as the greatest need in our community? Who wants to jump on that one first?
I think there's so many. I think that's a loaded question. It probably depends where your passions lie. Ours tend to really focus on kids in education and kids in our community, food insecurity. That has ramped up exponentially since COVID. You also talk about kids having support, to get to graduation and then beyond. That's a huge issue. So those are some of the things that we deal with.
I would agree with Sydney. I would have said food issues. United Way has moved into our building, and so I hear a lot about food issues, and then education as well. Seems that falls, you gotta feed the children first, but then education is right up there next to it. You gotta make certain they're getting the proper education, so, but food comes first.
I agree with what each of them has said earlier. I'm not the one to say what the biggest problem is in the area. However, I think one thing that would be helpful is for people to focus locally. It's really easy, I think, to give to national campaigns, and so to focus on our local nonprofits to support our local businesses can have a major impact.
This is a softball one for you, John. This question is for John. In the video, you mentioned starting the Here for Good program during the pandemic. Is this program still around to this day?
We are still running the Here for Good program. It actually launched a week ago. So this will be the 5th year that we're running it. And I noticed my figures were wrong. In the first 4 years that we've run it, we've raised over $250,000 for local organizations. We've had over 1,000 organizations participate. This year, already $20,000 is going back to the organizations that are participating in it. It runs for another 2 weeks almost. So people can find it online and buy a shirt for hopefully your favorite organization.
All right, so here's one. How do we get the 10 o'clock news to feature some of these types of endeavors? This is from Jeff. So I'll chime in on this one, and then I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So from a media perspective, I will say a couple things. One is you all can play a big role in this right now. You can take out your phones, you can take a picture, and you can share this on social media. You are all influencers. You can play an active role in celebrating and promoting those doing right. And so you can take control of your own narrative. And I think that's an important thing for you as individuals, as parents, as leaders in your organizations, realizing that these stories matter and that you all can play an active role. So when you're out volunteering, most people, here's a big thing about volunteering. Most people want to volunteer, they're waiting to be invited. Most people say, the majority, vast majority says, I want to make a difference, but I'm waiting to be invited. How cool is it that you get to be the person to invite them? And you can do that on social media. You can say, hey, I had a chance to volunteer with this amazing organization. Come join me next time. So you play a role because you can spread the good news. And when you talk about the 10 o'clock news, yes, you can do press releases and things like that. Typically, the news doesn't focus on these sort of stories, right? Like, they tend to focus on things that are easy stories to share, and negativity sells. If it bleeds, it leads. You, though, can take an active role in shaping that as well. For instance, if you advertise on the TV, you can say, don't put me next to negative news. Put me next to positive news. Let's create positive news spotlights. Money drives a lot of important things and decisions. So there's a lot of things you can do to make sure that good news is on the 10 o'clock news. What would you all add to any of that? Any thoughts? We'll make it open, so no one's called out if you would like to add. So how do we get the 10 o'clock news to feature some of these type of endeavors? You take control as a city. What would you add?
I mean, I would say roughly the same thing. I think, society, we sometimes focus on the negativity and are drawn into it. I think if we don't feed into it and don't give that a focus, and tell the news stations, this isn't what we want to see and hear. We want to focus on the good in our community. They'll listen.
John, you put it front center on the shirts. Literally, you can walk around as an ambassador.
I don't watch the news, so I'm pretty unqualified to talk on this topic, but we end up on the news a fair amount, and a lot of times just about us inviting them out. And so if you are involved in something good, reach out to them, ask them to come out, and they're generally pretty receptive. They're looking for news stories, and eventually they'll pick up on it with enough requests.
Yeah, I just believe the only way we could really impact them is just voice our concerns. And every time we run into a newscaster and we mention it to them. We want to see something positive, and maybe they'll get the message over time. But if we don't say anything, it won't change.
Yeah, it's a business. The news, those in the news, they want to share positives. So if you talk to them individually, they all want to share positives. You also, when you're out, you can take B-roll footage and you can send it to them. So you actually can help them do their job. You can share the storyline. You can send them all the information. They'll run it a lot of times. They're all short-staffed. So you can do a lot of things on your end to play a very active role in shaping the narrative for your city. I would say that I travel a lot, and so I turn on the 10 o'clock news in every major market, in every city that I'm in, and every single city, it's the same. It's all negative. So every city across America struggles with this exact question. And it unfortunately shapes the perception of people's city because, once again, back to the stat, 75% of your city is disengaged. Their only view of Toledo is what they see on the news. And so that's why it's so incumbent on you as community champions, as a community in this room, to work together to reshape the narrative that you want to tell. The beauty of each other working together and making a difference. So as a nonprofit who works to recruit volunteers and partner with local organizations, what is the right first step to get involved with your organization? And this is from Julia Haig and Grady Services. So how does a nonprofit take that first step to open the door of possibilities with your organization? We'll work our way down. Jim, we'll start with you.
Generally, in the instance, I'll get a letter from a nonprofit, and they'll ask us to participate, either financially or from a volunteer perspective. And then we'll run it by a committee, and we'll see where there's passions amongst our employees. And where there's the passion, we generally will support it.
I would say we tend to get involved first, giving our time or talent. We tend to build a relationship with organizations, learn more about them, what they're doing, what their needs are, and then from there, there's usually, an ask for monetary support. We do have a foundation board that, we run through and we look at things, but generally speaking, we start with the relationship first and working in the organization.
For us, it generally takes two forms. Number one is if an employee is passionate about it or involved with an organization, they might check in with other people, see who wants to get involved, or bring it up to a higher level to see if we want to be involved at an organizational level. The second is we work with a lot of nonprofits, and we generally prioritize or focus our efforts on those that we already have a relationship with.
The other thing is going back to the invitation. Think about the invitation, right? Like, so on the nonprofit side, who do you know on your board and your committees that knows somebody at that organization and invite them? You can also reach out and say, hey, are you hosting any sort of lunch and learns? Can our executive director come in and, talk a little about what we do in the community as a chance to share with your employees? So once again, for those on the nonprofit side, you can take an active role in reaching out to the organization and saying, hey, we would love to have you come on a nonprofit tour. We'd love to come in and do a lunch and learn. We'd love to, invite one of your employees to an upcoming volunteer day. There's a lot of things that you can do to be very proactive to open that door and that relationship. This is from Bill. As a judge reviewing the applications, this is a statement. The pride that employees have working for these companies was very obvious. I think that's a cool statement. So let me go to this one. I think this was a good one. Who is a person or organization you look up to who embodies doing right? So this can be a mentor, this can be another organization. Who is someone or an organization that you look up to that embodies doing right? We'll kind of throw that out generally. John, go ahead. I see the mic moving, so it's like, let's run with that one.
Yeah, once again, one of the really neat things about being a part of this is just it's being next to the people that I'm next to right now, and it brings awareness to all of the people that are doing so many amazing things in the area. And like I said, we work with a lot of nonprofits, from the 577 Foundation to Good Grief and countless others. And so when you step back and really look at it, and you look at the other events that are honoring other individuals or organizations, it's really impressive how many people are doing what they can to make an impact. But one person who's here today is Jen Archer. I've always looked to her. She's bounced around from place to place, and so
she's trying to hide. But Jen, stand up.
Out.
Come on. When you get called out by name, you have. All right, you can raise your hand. We'll accept that.
For me, it's difficult to single out anybody because all these nonprofits, people are not doing it for the money. They're doing it for giving back to the community. And I know there's some in this room today. I'm not going to single any out. And I've seen firsthand what they do. And when you're on the boards, you understand what they're doing. And so I think they're all doing a great job in our community. And I see it firsthand with United Way just because they're in our building, but I know every one of them are doing a great job.
Sydney, what would you add?
You know, in this room, I'm looking at 5 or 6 unbelievable leaders of nonprofits. So, you know, I don't want to call anyone out, but you know, there's so many unbelievable organizations, unbelievable leaders doing remarkable things for our community.
If I'm not the owner or president, how do I get my employer on board to develop a culture around volunteering and giving back to the community? So for an employee, how do they start to engage in this conversation that having a higher purpose is important?
Go ahead, Sid. All right, I would say that when you're setting up your personal metrics with your boss, you talk about a piece that's given back to the community. You want to be part of your incentive or part of your annual compensation is going to be rewarded to you based upon giving back to the community. And maybe it would fall on deaf ears the first few times, but that's where I would start. I would say it's important and communicate that back to the committees that are setting up your metrics for the year. Build it right in your compensation model.
Sydney?
Yeah, and I would think if your leader's not involved in this, you know, and it's something you want, I mean, I think showing them the value, showing them the payback and why they need to be involved, you know, today, and what it does for your culture, for your employees, you know, for the organization as a whole. There's nothing but benefits. There's nothing but upside. So I think it's, you know, an easy sell. You know, if it's a little planned out, maybe you can introduce them to another leader in the community, you know, a nonprofit, you know, start to get them involved so that they can see for themselves, have their own experiences about how it'll make a difference.
John?
For me, I run a small business and I always have too many things to do. So if somebody came to me with an idea and the initiative to put a program together or to be involved with a nonprofit that we weren't engaged with or I wasn't aware of, that would provide a lot of value to me. And so I would love for somebody to initiate something like that. And so I think with the right manager or owner, whoever it might be, at least in my situation, I'm just looking for anyone who would provide an idea and a plan to get it done.
You're all looking for leaders, right? You're looking for someone who takes the initiative. And I think I've got countless, even that I'm thinking of just even names right off the top of my head of individuals at corporations who reached out and said, hey, I want to start this. I want to lead a nonprofit tour. I want to organize a day of service. You can do so many things now during a lunch break. You can write letters to troops. You can pack meal kits. You can do a lot of things. Hey, I would like to organize that for our team during a lunch break. Let me take the initiative. That right there, if you're the employee, like you get to show leadership. You get to show like, hey, I can deliver value and results. I can do something special. And what happens is, once that word starts to spread, your coworkers, your employees enjoy that experience, they want to do more. And they've literally created their own jobs with the company by stepping out and taking the leadership role in community service. And the other thing is, it goes back to, the ROI, right? When the employees start feeling good about it and their happiness and productivity starts to increase because they have higher purpose, and then you start sharing those stories on social media and you start getting the feedback back and the awareness being raised for your organization, which leads to talent recruitment, development, retention. All of that has huge metrics for ROI. And so even for a business leader or an owner who's not necessarily the most philanthropic minded, you can deliver powerful results that show them, oh, wait, this is really imperative to my business because social impact is mandatory. You can deliver that as an employee by just taking the initiative and raising your hand and wanting to be part of the solution. So I think that's where you can take an active role in creating your own destiny with that. Last question for each of you. Donna and I were talking last night about it'd be great to have a playbook, like a checklist, so that you can walk out with a, what do I do next? Well, obviously each one of you are in very different places with your organization and where you are in this journey of philanthropic leadership, making a difference, doing right. And so what were your words of encouragement? We'll kind of work our way down. So John, we'll start with you. You can give us a checklist, your top 3 or just general words of encouragement for those who want to make a greater difference. What would your encouragement be for them to start creating this checklist and playbook to be able to be a catalyst, a champion for the community of Toledo, Ohio?
I think for people who are looking to get involved with, nonprofit organization or any organization that's making a difference, it's important to follow things that you're interested in or passionate about. Makes it a lot easier to get involved. There are so many, once again, great organizations locally. And if you share an interest with them, reach out. They're always looking for volunteers. And so I think it's a really easy way to get experience with it and to really grow individually and help the organization have an impact, a positive impact on people's lives.
Sydney?
I think for me, start today. I think your employees are a great resource. Talk to them first. I guarantee they've done things before. They have ideas on where to go next. Collaboration is a big piece. I think you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can work with other organizations, talk to nonprofits, but working with others to maximize, time, dollars is always a great way. Yeah. And I think, just one step at a time. I mean, we've been working on this and we're building different things each year. Each month we learn something new. And, I would say among my employees, it's become more of a movement for us. I've got tons of employees that do their own thing and take on their own initiatives, so I don't have to. And we're all, we know what our goal is and what we're focused on. So if you give it a little, I think you'll gain a lot.
Jim, wrap us up.
From a playbook perspective, I would say make it part of your vision, number 1. Number 2, then make it one of your core values. Have ethics, integrity, giving back. Make it those part of your core values. Walk the talk. And then lastly, encourage and reward it.
And I think the common thread, as you heard, is it's community, right? Like, don't forget, you're in a community in this room together. You can encourage each other, share best practices, share the things that you're doing well, the lessons you're learning with each other, and don't let this be just a one-time event. Be a part of the University of Toledo Family Business Center. Be a part of having these conversations ongoing with the Doing Right Spotlight. Be a part of each other's lives, businesses, support each other, because that's where the beauty unfolds, is the community, not only outside of these 4 walls, but inside here together as well. So let's give our honorees a big round of applause. Our Doing Right Spotlight honorees for this year: John Amato, Jupmode; Dr. Sydney Williams, Designetics; Jim Jaros, SSOE Group. So thank you to our panelists. Give them a round of applause as they are done for today. And then as I exit the stage with them, we'll welcome back up Angie. So come on up.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you to Jeremy. Thank you all for coming today. I just have a few closing remarks. I think one of the best things about this program is we know that a lot of the large corporations have corporate social responsible programs that they can do, but this shows you people, companies in our community, your peers, have implemented these types of programs that are helping the community, and hopefully that inspires you, if you're the owner, if you're the president, to do something with your employees, or if you're an employee, to take initiative, take a leadership role, and implement something like that in your organization. So I know Sydney said we don't do this for recognition, and we know they're not. And that's why we are very specific to call it a spotlight and not an award. But in the name of the 3 spotlight companies, the center will be making a donation to your 3 organizations, the Same Cafe, Care for Kids, and the Here for Good program. And Megan will put up the next slide. If anyone feels like they would like to give to the scholarship fund for the students, we have a QR code. This goes directly to the scholarships. I know we've had the 2 scholarship recipients here. We have a few other students here. It's great. We would very much appreciate that. It's also Day of Giving for the university, or Days of Giving in the next few days. So watch your email. I'm sure you'll see all about that. There's opportunities to give to all parts of the university. So thank you. We appreciate everyone coming. Have a great afternoon.